Hello and welcome to the Third and Long Podcast Thursday edition. We've got a bit of news to talk about. As always, I am here with my trusty sidekick. Actually, I won't be saying that. Trusty co-host, Ollie Butler Henderson. How are you today, mate?
I am all good, mate. I am all good. We are ready. We are motoring nicely towards the draft, and I am thoroughly looking forward to it. I will not lie.
Yes. This is my last show after the draft, because the next 3 weeks I am not going to be on.
Yeah, some lucky so-and-so's actually going to be in America for the draft. Not
Yeah.
actually at the draft, though, which is a bit of a shame.
Yeah, I'm not, it's a bit far from Florida to Kansas City.
At least you're in the right time zone.
Yes.
You're not like us, like who have to wake up at like ridiculous o'clock in the morning, or stay awake and watch it. It's good.
I mean, the fact that the Niners don't have a pick until round 3 means I wouldn't be staying up round 1, but I don't have to. Luckily, it's at 8 o'clock my time.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I could never see them moving it out the country, but I could also see the benefits of being moved out of the country.
They'll never do that.
Yeah, I mean, 11 o'clock tonight, UK time, we will find out who the draft prospects are and who are attending. So who are we going to have a Malik Willis this year sitting around waiting until round 3?
I believe Jalen Carter is expected to be attending the draft.
What, not to be picked up? Hey, yeah, it's so we're expecting that. That's going to be good. So we'll drop that out when it comes 11 o'clock across our socials, mainly on the Twitter account at Third and Long Podcast, which is rolling along the bottom.
Our Third and Long UK pod.
Exactly that. As always, give us a like, give us a follow, give us a follow on Spotify. All your help is and all your love is much needed and much appreciated as well.
Should we jump into the news?
Oh, yes. And Shane decided to do Metallica instead of talking about his beloved Baltimore finally getting a receiver that he wants.
His beloved Baltimore massively overpaying for a receiver.
Yeah, I mean, you said on the group chat between all of us that, you think he's washed out, he's done, he's finished, etc., etc. And in some extent, I do agree with you.
My issue is he's not played for a year.
That's no different to all these players who sat out a year due to COVID and they still came back and performed.
Yeah, but he wasn't really performing before he'd sat out a year.
I'm going to strongly disagree on that. The reason I disagree on that is his playoff performance from, say, week 16 onwards for LA was superb, was off the charts, was prime Odell Beckham. He was their go-to guy. Matthew Stafford was, if Cooper wasn't open, it's Odell. If Odell wasn't open, it was Beckham. It was one of those two guys they're always going to, and it's those two guys that took Super Bowl. His stats for the playoffs and the last 2, even 3 weeks of the season were ridiculously good. I'm just going to bring them up here now if I can find my mouse. He was very good.
He's getting old now. I mean, he's 30. And it is for a wide receiver.
Maybe. I mean, I still think he's a very, very good wide receiver, and you're going to get a lot out of him.
Here's my other issue. Matthew Stafford is one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league.
Is he?
I'd say so.
Okay.
Whether you have Lamar Jackson or a different quarterback, that might not be the same. And Odell doesn't really like it when he doesn't get the ball much. Ergo, Cleveland.
This is my feeling about Cleveland is he just didn't want to be in Cleveland. No, it was just, I need to make an excuse to get out of Cleveland. That's what it was. Prior to that, his targets wasn't massively in LA the last 3-4 weeks of the season. It was 8, 7, 5. He was bringing all these in, and he was getting plenty of yardage. He was getting touchdowns. He was getting longs of like 18, 19, 20 yards. His production is still there. Playoffs, he was 4 through 4 against Arizona. He was 6 from 8 against Tampa. He was 9 from 11 against you guys. He was over 100 yards that game.
Yeah, but they still got smacked.
And before you in the Super Bowl, before he got injured in the Super Bowl, he was 2 from 3 for 52 yards.
I'll give you he probably was on track for Super Bowl MVP before he got injured. I will give you that.
So to say he wasn't that good before he got injured, I think is a bit short-sighted. I think he was still very good. Yes, prime Odell Beckham before he broke his leg in New York is well and truly gone. This is a new style of Odell Beckham who's still got the good route running, still creates separation, can still do a job for a team,
I think
he's done his job there and brought him over.
I think I said this when he signed for LA, and I'm going to say it again now, and it's a bit of a controversial opinion. I don't think Odell Beckham is that good a wide receiver.
I'm not going to put him in the top 10. I would say he's not up there with Coop. He's not up there with some of the best ones out there in the game. Cooper,
Debo.
Debo. I'm trying to think of wide receivers now, and I have not got any in the top of my head. That is really bad.
Cooper Kupp, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle.
Thank you.
Samuel.
Thank you for digging me out of that very deep hole. I was almost in Australia then. He's not in that level, but he is in that next tier of, wide receivers. What would be a very good WL2 or a very good WL1 for someone like Houston, someone like Baltimore, where he is.
So here's my opinion. He's famous for circus catches. And his circus catches are great. But as an actual wide receiver, I don't think his route running is that good. He drops balls, and I don't think he's actually that good as a wide receiver.
There we go. Let's bring up his stats here. That's for career, he says. There you go. So stats, targets. He's around about 65 to 70%. So out of 880 catches, he pulled in just under 600, which is about average.
Yeah, average wide receiver.
He had late Eli throwing at him. Eli's.
He got drafted in 2014. Eli was still pretty good 2014, 2015, 2016.
He's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 1,000 yards, 6 1,000-yard seasons.
How many of those were in the
My
2020s?
issue with Odell, and I think I said this, is his injury. So 2017 he only played 4 games. 2020 he played 7. 21 he played 14. So he picks up a lot of injuries. Obviously he's had the broken ankle. He's had the 2 ACL injuries now. That's my issue with him. I still think he is a good wide receiver who will do a very good job in Baltimore.
But do you think he's
18 million?
I was going to say, do you think he's an 18 million wide receiver?
18 million, I mean, that is what he can earn top end. I think the basic was 12, wasn't it?
I think it was 15, I saw anyway.
So maybe, if you get to 18, then, fair play. It means that Baltimore have got to playoffs. They've got far in the playoffs. They've kept Lamar, whatever. But, yeah, my issue is the injuries. He's rarely played a full season. 2016 played 16 games, and 2019 he's played 16 games.
Yeah.
He's not played a full season.
My main issue with the signing is the price tag. I don't think he's worth that much.
To be a bit of we said this several times, the market's gone crazy since a certain quarterback and a certain wide receiver in Jacksonville. Christian Kirk's not a 90 million receiver for 3 years.
No.
Those figures go, it's their agents have done a bloody good job of getting them that money. And you got to publish this, you've got to publish this. But those figures going, well, my stats were better than his stats in XYZ seasons. I should be getting more than that, or at least that.
Yeah.
That's why it's happened. The market's got inflated because of these very clever agents. Very, they're probably not getting the 90 million over 30 years. He's probably only getting guaranteed 30 million over the 3 years.
Yes.
And then the incentives, but they made them publish 90 million because it makes it look like he's a 30 million wide receiver.
It makes it look like the agent's a bloody good one, so he gets more clients.
Exactly. There is that as well. So that is, that's my think on it. It's, 12, 15 million, whatever he's getting paid. It's still steep. It's more than bloody Cooper Kupp's getting, I think.
It's more than Brandon Ayuk's getting, but I know that's because he's still on a rookie contract.
Yeah. It's more than all the Patriots receivers are getting, but Patriots don't pay receivers. That's just one of those things. It's more than...
Aren't you playing Juju?
Which? Juju is... I want to say he's 29 over 3 years. Off the top of my head, I may be wrong. But that's all in. That's the thing. I can't remember what his guaranteed is off the top of my head. But yeah, it is the wide receiver. It's the agent getting these money. That's what it is. So that's fair play to the agent. He's done his thing. Going back to Lamar Jackson not having an agent. If you had an agent, you would get your money.
Yes.
Anyway,
should we move on to this Jeff Okudah news?
I think Falcons have stolen one here. Absolutely.
I think this is a 1-year rental.
Do you reckon it's 1 year?
Well, if they want to take up his 5th-year option,
yeah,
they need to make a decision at this offseason. Do you think he's done enough so far to warrant a 5th-year option being picked up?
Last season, he made 73 tackles, 1 forced fumble and 1 interception. His career is 124 tackles, 1 forced fumble and 2 interceptions. So,
because in his rookie year, he had an up and down year, and then if I recall in his second year, he was injured for most of the year.
Yeah, I mean,
and then he looked okay last year.
But Detroit looked okay last year.
True.
He's going to learn from Jesse Bates, who's, is a good wide receiver. In 2020, he only played 9 games. 21, he only played 1 game. And last year, he played 15 games. So you can only really go on last year's games, on last year's stats. Yeah, I would, what's the harm? He was a 5th round pick, wasn't it? Fifth overall pick, wasn't he?
Was he 5th? I thought wasn't he 3rd overall?
3rd or 5th. He was in the top 5 anyway.
Yeah.
So, it is probably worth him taking his 5th-year option, having a rookie deal. It's going to be, he's going to be on about 10, 15 million, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a lot for a cornerback.
For that, yeah. I don't know what it is. Let me bring up his, excuse me, let me bring up his contract now.
Like he was a high pick, so it'll be a lot.
He is on, it was a 4-year deal worth 33 million. So he is on 8.3 million a year. So 8 million for 3 years. It's not a bad thing. Curry, salary cap hits 7 million. So 8 million for another year. Take it.
I don't mind the 1 year, but it'll be more, won't it? If you take
50 options, you stay on the rookie numbers. You stay on the rookie deal. So take it. You got 2 years, then you decide, yeah, okay, we want this kid. Yes, he's going to be good. Ohio State have a habit of producing really good corners. This lad had an injury hit first season. He missed pretty much all of his second season. Last year, he did all right. He had some good numbers on there for corner, for defensive back. They are loading up the secondary there until their startings. I do think they've stolen this a 5th round pick for a former number 3 pick overall.
Yeah, but if you think about it, that 5th round pick could be George Kittle.
Rolling it back to San Francisco. Yeah, I mean, agreed. It could be, but who knows? It's still a really good deal from Atlanta. They are putting a really good roster together. They're putting things together now. The rumors are that they're now going to be looking for our quarterback. They could be picking a quarterback early up today in this round. They have no complaints going with Desmond Ritter, but if one of these top 3 fall to them or top 4 fall to them, they'll be taking a quarterback. I can see it.
Anyway, on to the Big Blue and New York Giants.
So his salary cap, was it 11 million for a running back?
Yeah, it's something. It's
franchise tag, isn't it?
It's weirdly low.
He wants 30 million per year. That would put him as in the top 5% earners of running backs in this league.
Running backs don't get paid. That's the issue. McCaffrey's on 12 million a year for the next 3 years, I think.
What happened to Todd Gurley when he got his second contract?
He stopped caring.
What happened when Zeke got his second contract?
He stopped caring.
What happened when most running backs get their second contract?
They stopped caring.
That's the issue. This is where you don't pay running backs. That's why they don't pay running backs. Yes, you are running at full pelt into several 300-pound linemen. You're going to get hurt. This is what you don't, because you don't have 30 million sat on your injured reserve list.
No.
Get your agent, let the agent do the work, plan your franchise tag. Your agent will know what numbers you want and all that as well. If you can play the 16, 17 games, and then you're going and you juice the numbers you did in your rookie season and almost like you did last season, then he's obviously going to be worth 30 million. But
Barkley's injury record hasn't proved that he's good at staying healthy, really, has it?
Yeah, he's had 2. So he's what? This is 4 years he's been in the league, and 2 of them he's missed majority of the season.
Yeah.
That's the problem. It's the Odell Beckham problem, isn't it? Odell Beckham has earned that 18 million almost because A, he's got a ring, and B, he's had the career and he's had the 1,000-yard reception yards. Barkley he had a stellar rookie season. One of the best rookie running backs I can remember, and that includes, PJ Walker and Bryce Hall, the way he was going this year. The guy down, the couple of other guys down, the one guy down at your place last year as well, Elijah Mitchell, and the other couple of running backs, they had good this year. But those 2 seasons where he was badly injured sandwiches the 2 really good seasons he's had. Last season, he was probably one of the best running backs in the league. He was back to, as he was. He was back to where he was. So it's how they can work it so they can get that Beckham, keeping that Beckham, and keeping him fit. He had 1,000 yards rushing, 1,300 yards rushing last season.
Dave's just come up saying that Ollie's rocking the pod.
Oh,
right,
yes.
Dave?
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: if you were Dable, and if you were the GM, whose name is currently escaping me, would you try and find a way to pay him the 30 million? Or would you say, okay, if you don't want to pay him the franchise tag, set out the season and we'll kick you out the door next season?
you've got to try and work a way to play him. You know, they just paid Danny Jones 40 million. He's had one good season. You know, his first season he had 1,300 yards. His second season he played 13 games, had 1,000 yards. 2020 he missed the season. You know, 21 he played 13 seasons. Admittedly under Joe Judge only had 500 yards. Last season they went back to the run heavy offense, 1,300 yards. This is why I think they are going to draft a rookie running back and go 1-2. There you go. Give Barkley the rest. So you're going to protect your interest, really, because he is your franchise player.
Dave agrees with you in the comment below. Find a way to re-sign him. Jones needs him.
Exactly.
I agree with that. They do need. Maybe not. I'm not going to say they need Barkley, but they need a good running back.
If they are lucky enough to have Bijan Robinson drop to them at 24, I think it is, or 25, and you can take the risk of going, bye. You know, because you're going to have this lad running there on 7-8 million a year when Barkley wants 30. It all depends on the draft. You know, if you take a running back in the round 1 or round 2, Barkley, Guyan, or Gayam, or however you pronounce his name, and you think he's good enough to take the load what Barkley would have had, you let Saquon go. That's what I would do. But Barkley's worth the 30 million. He really is. If you can keep him fit, he's worth the 30 million.
I'm not sure any running back's worth 30 million.
Someone that good who can play out the backfield, who can do a wildcat, who can catch. You know, his first season, he had 2,000 yards and 700 of that was through the air.
Yeah, but I'm just comparing it to somebody like McCaffrey. And that's because I know McCaffrey's contract details. And that's 12 million a year for the next 3 years.
So the highest paid running back in this league currently is, I want to say Rashard Penny, but I don't think it is. You know, so you've got to compare it to these other running backs that are getting paid. And just go, right, yeah, okay, you've got better numbers than him, but he hasn't been injured for X, Y, Z years.
Okay, so apparently the highest paid running back at the moment this year is McCaffrey, who he's not on 12 a year, he's on 16 a year.
Can't engage factor, right? Hey!
Yeah, but he's the highest paid running back at 16 million a year.
So what's his bonus structure like? If his bonus structure works up to 30 million, and then you go to Saquon, right, Barkley did it last year. Not Barkley, McCaffrey's done it. Okay, yes, he's missed several years for injury, the same kind of injury record that Barkley has. Do you compare him to that? Possibly. If he went somewhere else, would he have the same effect that McCaffrey had in San Francisco? Who knows? There's a lot of if, buts, and maybes on that.
So basically, McCaffrey was given a 64 million contract a couple of years ago. 4 or 5 years, I can't remember. But the guaranteed money is only 30 million.
Interesting that. Yeah, I would pay Barkley, but if he wants the 30 million, you work out a way to get that 30 million to him.
Yeah.
Whether it's like you're guaranteed this, you're going to get XYZ signing bonus, which makes up the gap. The way you get that 30 million is by you work your ass off and you stay fit. Okay.
I'm just looking at the contracts. There's McCaffrey on 16, Kamara on 15, Dalvin Cook on 12.6, Derrick Henry on 12.5, and Nick Chubb on 12.2. Like, if this guy wants 30 million, he needs to prove he's way better than these guys, which I don't think he has.
Probably bar McCaffrey, he was body better than all of them last season.
Yeah.
Actually, the second half of the season, McCaffrey was probably the best running back in the league. Especially number-wise.
Nick Chubb, I think, had a great season last season.
Yeah, true. But he's another one who's injury prone. It is the problem with the running backs, they got short careers. That's why they want money. Let's roll on to Devin White, who wants out. He wants out of Tampa.
Who'd want him?
being sunk by the Pirates.
Who'd want him?
There is several teams I could think that are lacking in linebacker composite, including my boys up in New England. I think we could probably take him. Las Vegas. You could even go to
Yep.
New York.
My issue is though,
You guys, you'd sit quite happily in there with you guys.
we have enough linebackers.
Maybe, but who knows? Seattle. He's a Seattle style player.
Do you think he's worth the money he's getting paid though? 11.5 million. He's not really performed as hoped in Tampa.
He's got one thing that instantly adds 10, 15, but 20% to any player.
A ring.
A ring. As soon as you say that you're a Super Bowl winning champion player, it doesn't even matter if you're bloody QB3. Your salary demand goes like that. You know, it goes up through the houses. That's the problem. You know, again, the salary cap's going up next year. It's scary how things are going up. Really is. There's lots of landing spots to it here. There's lots of landing spots for a lot of players at the moment that are wanting out of their teams. So it's going to be an interesting few weeks. I mean, obviously we've got, you know, a certain quarterback who wants out of green and wants to go to another green. You know, they seem to convince that deal's going to go ahead, but whether it goes ahead or not, I generally don't know.
Somebody could easily hijack it at this stage. It's gone on for so long.
Yeah, completely. You know, who's going to want it? Who's going to take it? It's going to be an interesting one. Arizona. Who's going to take the 3 pick?
I heard there's 6 teams that's called about it. So I was thinking about this. Who could the 6 teams be?
So for some stupid reason, Indianapolis have.
Yeah, well, I feel like
why would you go at one spot when they blatantly don't need a quarterback?
Yeah, but they do. It stops them getting Hodge. If they have a quarterback they love, want to say Levis or who's the other? Or Richardson.
Anderson, Bryce, one of those, yeah.
They want to make sure they don't get undercut by another team like Vegas or something. Then they might need to move up that one spot.
So the teams I've heard are Indianapolis, Tennessee.
Yeah,
I've heard Tennessee. Who are really high on Will Levis. Really high on Will Levis. The other one is Atlanta. Could go, Atlanta up there. Another one. They're the 3 I've heard.
Yeah, I was trying to think of the 6 teams. So I came up with those 3. I also came up with the Raiders.
Yeah, because they're high on. They after kill it back and they're high on one as well.
And I think potentially Tampa Bay.
I would look at the teams that have got 2 draft picks. So you can go to Indianapolis, okay. You are number 3. How about we give you your number 5 and our number 20? For example, if you're Seattle, there you go. What do you think? You get 2 picks. You're only dropping 2 spaces. You get to fill 2 very big holes in your roster with 2 quality players. If I was Arizona, I'd be going, yes, please. If
I was Arizona, I'd wait until draft night and see who's dropped to them.
Yeah.
Because if say the Panthers take, let's say, CJ Stroud, and then the Texans take Anthony Richardson, and suddenly Bryce Young is still on the board.
Yeah.
You might get a bit more.
Yeah. I mean, I can't see. I've been reading a lot of stories and a lot of reports. I can't see Stroud and Bryce being any other than 1 and 2.
Yeah, I do agree. I do agree with that.
What order they come, I still would personally go for CJ as number 1, Rice number 2. Me personally, Caroline, I've heard a very, very high on CJ Stroud, incredibly high. They're the one he wants. They've given him in the playbook. They've had him in for quite a bit to talk to him. They've had a lot of meetings with him. I think they are going to go with him.
I've heard Reich really wants Young though.
Yeah, it's interesting. It wouldn't surprise me if someone like Belichick goes left field. We know Belichick normally likes to trade back, but could this be the one that he goes forward?
Yeah. New England could go and get 3 if he really doesn't like Mac as much as being reported.
Yeah, it's none of them come from a genuine source. That's my issue with that story, and I'm going to stick to that one.
I saw one from a genuine source, a Patriots beat writer.
Yeah, it's not a genuine source, but yeah, he is a source out there. Because someone like Baltimore, they've got Odell. Are they going to need now a quarterback? Because we don't know what Lamar's going to do this season.
Honestly, whether he plays or not is a different story, but I think Lamar will be a Baltimore Raven by the start of the season.
Yeah. And also, obviously, there's teams that aren't in the first round. Miami, you guys, who could need it,
Oh, we have another host that has just joined the party. Mr. Perrings is here.
Hello, gentlemen. How are we?
Oh, I missed your Dorset tones.
How are we going? Sorry, I'm back from the dead, listeners. Apologise. What have I missed?
We're just talking about the Cardinals and the 3rd pick.
Yeah. So, right. I've been fairly out of the loop for a wee bit with some NFL news. I was saying to Shane the other day, I've actually kind of been keeping an eye on the XFL, but not watching most of the games. But talk to me about the Cardinals and the 3rd pick.
Well, apparently, lots of teams are calling about it.
Okay. The Cardinals are in desperate need of a rebuild, and they are in the process of doing a rebuild. So whether or not I think they're going to actually draft someone to kickstart that, sorry, because it's not working on my laptop, whether or not they're going to try and kickstart that with some draft capital, or they're going to try trade it away. So who are some of the teams that are interested, and what do you think the price is for the 3rd pick?
Well, apparently Indianapolis, who are the ones you said? Indianapolis, Falcons and Titans, but there's also reports that 6 teams have called, so we're just talking about potential other teams that could have called.
Cool.
And Ollie's suggesting potentially 2 first-round picks. But I think what they should do is wait until draft night and see who's still available at 3. Because if one of the top 2 quarterbacks falls to 3, then they could be getting a bit more.
What are they going to do with Sonny Weaver?
Sonny Weaver Jr.
Draft back and then still get them. No, I mean, my issue was, you can get someone like Seattle who aren't in a massive rebuild. They've got majority of their pieces there, enough that this draft would take. They can go and get their number 1 target without being dropped back. And the first 2 are going to be quarterbacks. They can go and get themselves a Will Anderson. They can go and get themselves a Nolan Smith, or they can go and get themselves a Devin Witherspoon or something or Witherspoon or someone like that, and only give up their first 2 round picks in this round, which is 5 and 20. And Arizona can pick up 2 of their key pieces that they really, really want in this draft. A number 1 wide receiver, a number 1 pass rusher.
I'll be very surprised if the Cardinals end up picking at 3.
Yeah, I can't see it. I really can't. Washington are in reports for a quarterback as well. They're not happy.
Have you talked about the Washington news already?
Well, the Snyder's actually selling the team.
Yeah, right. It's finally agreed. He's buying from a consortium that, or one of the owners is the owner of the Philadelphia 76ers.
Yeah, we actually haven't talked about that.
Okay. I mean, $6 billion. I mean, I don't know. How much did the Broncos go for? That was more, wasn't it?
$6 billion is what the Glazers went for United.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
It's I mean, it's probably that little is because he has had so much pressure to sell that franchise.
Yes.
The owners want him out. The Roger Goodall wants him out. All the the stories that's come out of like gross misconduct, sexual misconduct, and all that's come out of this, and it's all from that. He's going, you have to go, you have to be sold.
I mean,
Simple.
it's funny you say that little when the Broncos went for 4.6.
I thought they were more than that.
I just checked. They went for 4.6.
wow.
I thought they were double figures. I
Yeah,
thought they were, oh wow. Yeah, I mean, fair play to him if he's got that much then. To a stadium that's falling down, literally, because we've seen the videos last year of literally one of the
I remember
stands
that. Yeah.
on fans. Yeah, I mean, is it Josh Brown's group or something like that?
Josh Harris,
Josh Harris, that was it. It's his group that's selling it.
owner of the basketball team I dislike the most.
No one likes the 76ers, mate. Don't worry about that one. That's coming from a Celtics fan, so don't worry about that. He's fair play. It's now, this year's going to be a very interesting year in Washington. They've got Ron Rivera, who, to me, is a very stale coach, a very good coach, but very stale. Now, they've got a quarterback limbo. They have no idea what to do with their quarterback. There's some really good players on
Did
both
they find
sides.
Jacoby Brissett? Did they?
Yeah, Jacoby.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan. I actually really rate Jacoby Brissett quite a lot. I think he's not good enough to be a permanent starter, but he's too good to be a second string. That's how I see Jacoby.
He's a bridge quarterback.
Yeah. And I really hope next year in Washington, he'll have a really good shot at it. But yeah,
I hope Washington involved with Sam Howell. All he knows, I was really high on Sam Howell coming out of the draft.
Going to what Phil said about Jacoby, I could see him being very much a Fitzmagic style quarterback. Bounces around the league now. Josh McCown bounces around the league. Bounces around the league. These players have gone from franchise to franchise because they're not interested in the quarterbacks coming in the draft this year, but there's someone in next year they really, really want. And hope they have more bad years, so they've got picking a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the draft. That's what
just while we're talking about this is actually a hot take too. I'm not sure the Kyler Murray is ever going to play another snap for the Arizona Cardinals.
Oh wow, that's what I feel.
Okay, so here's my thinking. They are in a massive rebuild.
Yeah.
It's sort of hard to rebuild when you've got Kyler Murray on whatever his contract is, but it's a lot. Yeah, are you with me so far?
Yeah.
Still going.
So I think they say whenever Kyler comes back, let's say middle of next season, and I think they're very untalented. So let's say 1-7.
So you don't think he's going to be back until week 8, week 9, depending where their buy is?
Yes. Are they going to want to bring Kyler back and potentially finish, say, 5 and whatever, 12? Or are they going to think, let's roll with quarterback X, finish 2 and 15, and go and get Caleb Williams, and then trade Kyler for maybe a bit of draft capital, and let's properly rebuild this?
It makes sense because Caleb Williams is meant to be the next coming, the next big thing, the next Eli Manning stroke. But with Josh Allen's arm strength and all that, it does make sense, but I can't see it happening. Who's going to want to take on Kyler Murray's contract?
And there's supposed to be this like Kyler Murray, Cliff Kingsbury meshing thing, which hasn't worked. Jonathan Gannon defensive coach, I think.
Mm-hmm. But again, it goes back to my question. Who's going to want to take on Kyler Murray's $40 million contract? Who's got the cap space to take on a $40 million contract? Green Bay, when Aaron Rodgers leaves to New York?
Baltimore looking for a quarterback.
Phil's in the purple tonight, so let's have...
I mean, I'm guessing we already talked about the OBJ news.
Yes.
What an absolute waste! Oh my good God. Anyway, Kyler Murray. Houston, perhaps, if New Orleans, Tampa.
Well, New Orleans have got Carr now, haven't they?
Oh yeah, shit. Sorry. Sorry. I forgot about Carr. Who else? Miami. Miami. Seattle. I actually don't see Arizona trading to somebody in the same division.
If there's anything, it's going to be a cross division. It's going to be so right. We don't want to give it to the NFC. We need to go to
AFC,
AFC or AFC, or you're stuck here, mate, and you're going to live out.
Kyler Murray to be starting in Foxborough by the start of next season.
Oh,
Order here first.
Kyler Murray is not a Bill Belichick. No, I'm not going to say style of player. I'm going to say personality.
Yeah.
You know, if this thing was like, right, he'll rock up at 4:00 in the morning, do all the workouts, do this extra practice, do this extra training, do whatever it is and stays in line. What Mac is doing, yes, okay, Mac's apparently went outside and got extra support like Tom Brady did. So I don't know why this has come, like, Belichick's unhappy about it because it's no different what Brady did. I don't get, Kyler Murray is not a Belichick style player.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't do all those workouts, but I heard he's full prestige on COD.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
His aim on COD is quite good, to be fair, I've been told.
Yeah. Let's roll on to this week's draft prospects. We're doing it a little bit different this week. There is no videos to roll through.
Yeah, I've got about 8 tabs open of linebackers and edge rushers.
Yeah. We've got several players rolling up. There's a few really good linebackers and edge rushers coming this way. I've got 3 off the top of my head that I really, really like.
I've got 4.
Ollie's got several as well. I think a couple of them probably mash across each other as well on that one as well. Shall we go first with probably the guy who's going to be the first edge rusher off the board?
Will Anderson Jr.?
Will Anderson Jr., yeah.
This guy is a beast.
Yeah, his combine time was incredible. He had a really impressive combine. His stats last year, 51 tackles, 10 sacks.
Yeah,
for a guy who's that big, he can move.
If you look at his 2021 sacks, which is last time he played a full season, 101 total tackles, 57 total, 17.5 sacks.
Yeah.
For an Alabama team that aren't massive rushing teams, they are very good at coverage, very good at defensive backs. They are not. They don't produce typical, full-on pass rushers. They're very good in the secondary. That is what Alabama is.
This guy,
they make you run.
This guy is number 1 on my draft board.
He's number 1 on probably 99.9% of people's draft board. If you're not,
I recall you having Jalen Carter higher on your first mock draft, Ollie.
Jalen Carter didn't even make my second draft pick. I can see this guy, he's not going to slip out the top 5 unless people are trading up to get, someone might even trade up to go and get him.
Yeah.
It could be that case. We might even see, right, okay, Cardinals could go to number 1 to go and get Will Anderson. You never know, because to stop someone else going in it could be that kind of thing. He is a different style of player. He reminds me very much of a certain guy who's just left Arizona on retirement, but bigger, a lot bigger. He's a lot bigger than JJ, but he's going to be that kind of impact player. He is brutal, absolutely brutal.
The next guy I was hoping to talk about was Byron Young, the Vols one, because I think he's got a really interesting story.
Yeah, give it.
So Byron Young was working at Burger King, and then by chance he saw a flyer, seeing a local tryout for some military college that were holding tryouts for their football team.
Yep. Georgia Military College.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he joined there, went there, got on the team, and then I believe became a Vols
Tennessee.
player and had an absolute great season.
So in the 2 seasons that he spent at Georgia Military College, he had 20 starts, capped his career with 5 sacks, 5 sack seasons, including 10 tackles for a loss and 14 hurries earned in the SEC honors. He is a really good player. He is incredibly quick. I mean, he did for the size, he's 249 pounds for 6'2". He did 470, 440. He is quick.
And
this is what impressed me so much about even the big guys, the O linemen, the D linemen. They were running sub 5.5s. It's a very, very quick draft class this year.
And just to be clear, this is Byron Young from the Tennessee Volunteers we're talking about, not Byron Young from the Alabama Crimson Tide. Because there were 2 people, same position, same draft class.
Yep, exactly on that one. I mean, he is incredibly. He will be probably going to pick him around 3rd or 4th round. I think it's going to be maybe late 2nd, early 3rd day. It's going to be a steal.
I think he could go back end round 1.
Really? You rate him that? Wow.
Anyway, should we move on to your guy, Ollie?
Yep. I really like Nolan Smith from Georgia. In fact, there's a couple of guys I really like. Nolan Smith from Georgia. 237 pounds and run a sub 460 40. I've seen him go in a few mock drafts mid round 1.
Yeah, I think he could go mid round 1. I mean, he didn't play much last season, only 18 tackles, 3 sacks, but he only played 5 games. But if you look at his 2021 stats, 55 tackles, 3.5 sacks, that's pretty good from a linebacker.
He's good in the coverage. He's very good at dropping in the coverage and picking up. Teams like having the mismatch. If they could see a wide receiver lined up against a linebacker, 9 times out of 10, they will throw it.
Yeah.
Because they see it's a mismatch. But this guy's speed, this guy's height, this guy's arm strength, I can't remember he had massive arm, massive wingspan. You're going to favor yourself on the defensive side for him to beat the wide receiver to the ball. You really are. And if not, you're going to back him to break the play up. I think this guy is incredibly good. Incredibly quick. As well.
I think he would have put up big numbers this year if it wasn't for his torn pec.
And for a Georgia Bulldog team that weren't that good last season.
Are you joking?
Didn't they missed the playoffs, didn't they?
They won the whole damn thing.
Oh yeah, of course. Stenson, wasn't it? Who missed the playoffs? Oh, it was Clemson, wasn't it?
Clemson and Alabama.
Yeah, that was it. Those 2, yes. Yeah, mixed up. So yeah, I mean, yeah, like I said,
the Georgia Bulldogs defense last year was scary good.
Yeah, I'm getting mixed up. Anyone else? Have we got anyone else?
I've still got 3 more.
Oh, so have you 2 either got Tyree Wilson?
No, actually, I've not got Tyree Wilson.
No, I've not got Tyree.
Oh, right. So he's one I had on my old draft pick from ages ago when we did like the second round. The more I've seen of him, the more I've been impressed because he's in his 5th year at college at Texas Tech. He is huge. I think he goes up to 6'6", 275 pounds. And he is just pure, unadulterated muscle. I mean, I don't know how. I mean, if Shane was like on the pod tonight, he'd agree. He's built like Brock Lesnar. Like he is just pure like padding
ponytail thing.
Yeah, well, minus the ponytail. He's a defensive end. I mean, he's 2022 stats: 10 games, 61 tackles, 14 tackles for a loss, 7 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. I mean, looking at like some of his highlight videos that I did a couple of weeks ago now, when I was just looking at like especially along the line and the edge rushing, he is very, very consistent. He's already catching the eye of Detroit. I think Detroit were last time that I looked a while ago. They were interested in him. I think he's also getting some interest from Arizona as well. He's not going to be a high pitch. He's not going to be a high pick, I don't think, because of just other skill positions that are also up for grabs, in the upcoming draft. But whoever can get their hands on him, I mean, Ollie, I think he'd be a steal if we managed to get him in San Francisco. He'd be insane.
So you see, I've seen some mock drafts have him going 3.
I had him going 5 in my last one. I didn't go to Seattle.
Yeah, I'd love it. I'd love him in the Bay. I don't think he's going to go top 10. I'm really sorry. I don't think he's. I think he
will. I think potentially Detroit at 8. Is it?
Yeah.
6 Detroit. I've got 6. And somewhere else, I can't remember what it is now, but yeah.
But he's been the one that's really, really stood out to me. I mean, he's a little bit more seasoned than the others. Like I said, looking at the other edge rushers that are coming in, you've got like a lot of third years coming into drafts. He's in his 5th year, and he's made himself eligible. And I think he's just got a little bit more experience. I think he's peaked at Texas Tech. I mean, they're a very, very defense-heavy program anyway in Texas. They just love their defense. Yeah, I'd be really surprised. He'll play well in any team that plays a 4-3. I think he'd get lost in a 3-4. 4-3 would be perfect. So yeah, maybe that Detroit pains me to say it, but like Seattle, I think he'd be perfect fit for the 49ers. I'm just saying it now. A line that has Armstead.
That's the problem.
Yeah, imagine yeah, they do. Can we just move on to, in my opinion, the best out-and-out linebacker in the draft?
Go on.
And I really hope I pronounce this right. But Henry, is it
Tutu?
Tutu.
Tutu.
I mean, just looking at his stats from college. 2020, he had 76 tackles, 47 solo. 2021, he had 111 tackles, 52 solo. 2022, he had 94 tackles, 45 solo. So this guy gets all over the pitch and makes a hell of a lot of tackles.
Yeah. He looked good. I mean, I haven't seen much of him. I mean, I've seen a few clips around the internet of him, and he does look quick. He was fairly explosive. Another really explosive combine time as well, another sub 4.6, 40 as well. It's ridiculous how quick these guys are at the moment.
I mean, this guy did play for the Vols before going to Alabama, but I mean, this guy is a hell of a player.
Yeah,
I think he'll be one of those players who flies all over the field, making tackles left, right, and center next season. And I think he's going to go in the first round.
Definitely. My next guy is a player out of Florida Gators. That's number 51. First came across him when we were in Boston this year. There's a highlight reel of Gators were playing on the TV, actually. And all I saw was this 51 making tackles, 51 forcing issues, causing breaking up plays. And his name's Ventrell Miller. His stats last year was 75 tackles, 2 forced fumbles and 1 fumble recovery, and several pass deflections down. He's big, he's strong. He did a 4.7 time. He's 6 foot, 228 pounds. He he's another one where you think you're going to have a mismatch, but you're not, because he makes up the ground incredibly quick. His next 0 to 10 wasn't brilliant, but his next the next 30 yards was incredibly quick. His split. So this is a guy who's going to be really good. I like this guy. I would like him to come up to New England. I think he'll complement our secondary and our pass rush really well. I like this guy. I think Vontrell Miller is going to be really good, and probably going to be set a third day pick, a Sunday pick, I think, or Saturday pick or something like that. I think.
That actually leads me on to my last one, who is also, I think, a third day pick, and that's Will McDonald IV from Iowa State Cyclones.
Yep.
This guy, he's 6'4", 239 pounds. I reckon he might not start much first year, but should become a good starter within the second year. He didn't do much of the combine. All he did was his vertical jump of 36 and broad jump of 11. But if you look at his stats, he's been pretty consistent with about 20 tackles a season. But what really stands out is his blitzing and his sacks. If you look in 2020, he had 33 tackles, 18 solo, 10.5 sacks. In 2021, he had 36 tackles, 24 solo, 11.5 sacks. So this guy he is the defensive end, but he gets the sacks. But there are a lot of good defensive ends and defensive interiors, so I reckon he's probably a late day 2 or day 3 pick.
Yeah, I can see that. Have you got anyone else, Mr. Perrins?
No, he was just the one that was going to stand out to me. Only because I was just really, really impressed with, B-Tech Brock Lesnar.
My last one is, I've seen this a few times now, being on a few mocks, being drafted by New England. He's from Iowa, and it's Lucas Van Ness. I've watched a bit of this because obviously I've seen this guy pop up on the mock drafts in New England. He's huge. He's 6'5", 272 pounds, and I don't think there's an inch of fat on him.
Is this fight? Who are we talking about? Is it Van Ness?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this guy's an absolute beast.
It would be an interesting matchup against him and a tight end. Really, if a tight, because he's built like a tight end, he's got the speed of a tight end. His combine time he's a 4.58 for the 40. He did a 31 vertical and a 9.10 board. His free cone drill was a 7.2, which is good, and he did 17 reps on the bench. He's big. He's strong. He's incredibly quick. He works well in a 3-4 front. So would fit well in Detroit. New England also run a 3-4 front as well. So it's, again, those teams that run a 3-4 offense, the 3 D linemen and the 4 linebackers. I've also seen him being a bit of a hybrid who can almost a bit like Micah Parsons does in Detroit. He could sit on that edge as well.
Here's my issue with Van Ness. I feel like he relies a lot on his strength and not that much on his technical ability. Obviously, a bit technical moves can be taught, but I feel like he's more of a diamond in the rough rather than a day 1 starter.
So interested in the weaknesses that's been propped up on him is he leans a bit too far forward. So yeah, again, what you said, technically not there, using strength. His transition isn't brilliant from the ball rush. Again, he takes a bit too long to, change the direction and all that as well. But
O-linemen are strong. They're like, you're not going to be going against a weak O-lineman in the NFL like you might do in college.
Yeah, this is why I think it'll end up being an almost like when they are going, when you've noticed you've got a tight end in the line, you go against a tight end.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be those kind of things because, like you said, he is quick, he is strong. It is that kind of, yeah, agreed. He is a diamond in the rough. You've got the fundamentals there, and if you can get that polish it up a bit, he will be a bloody good player. And if you can pick him up day 2, absolute bargain. Day 1, get the 5th-year option on it. You never know. But it's a good one. There's some really good, really, really good, edge rushers, line rush, and linebackers in this draft again.
I think this is one of the strongest linebackers classes I've seen for a while.
Yeah, most definitely.
As a whole, the whole draft this year, there's so many strong positions, so many strong players coming into the NFL. Like genuinely, like we talked about quarterbacks, but we've also talked about like this evening, edge rushers. We've talked about linemen. We've talked about wide receivers. I mean, the draft's going to be huge this year. Genuinely, so many great players.
I seem to be the only person that thinks the wide receiver class is really weak this year.
Yeah,
I think it's strong. I don't think it's elite. We're not going to be, there's no standard. There's no Odell Beckham Jr. prime. There's no Debo prime. But there's a lot of really good, consistent, solid wide receivers that are going to be coming up.
I was saying this last week. I feel like there's 2 quarterbacks that could be elite, but I think there's sort of 12 that could be good.
I hope you mean wide receivers. You said quarterbacks. You mean wide receivers?
Yeah, wide receivers. I feel like there's 2 wide receivers that could be elite, and then the next 10 could be good. But usually I think there's 4 or 5 that could be properly elite.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see possibly half a dozen wide receivers going round 1 easily.
Yeah, I could see.
You're gonna find Cooper Cup went round 5. Julian Edelman went round 7.
As a quarterback.
No, he's actually, if you listen to it, is wide receiver from Kent State. He was actually drafted as a wide receiver, but you're going to be having this draft class for the wide receivers is so deep. You are going to be picking up good NFL ready wide receivers deep into this draft.
If you want to know about diamonds in the rough wide receivers, watch last episode with Andy Fields.
Yeah, most definitely on that one. It has come to the end of the show. We have rambled on. We've had a special guest from Phil, who we are so pleased to have him back. We've missed him the last couple of weeks.
Yes, so it is that time of the year, ladies and gentlemen, that even though it's Easter break for some of you cool kids and kittens, it's also just another wonderful time of the year when all the teachers that have coursework elements to their subjects don't really get a break because we're constantly marking all of their work, or chasing them up. So yeah, that's kind of where.
A couple of days off soon.
Huh? I was in school last week from Monday to Thursday, doing Easter catch-up sessions, and I've been in school from Thursday till I've got to go in tomorrow as well to actually finish marking and doing moderation and doing all wonderful things that they don't tell you about when you're teacher training. They definitely don't tell you about that in school. So yes, I apologize I haven't been in the last couple of weeks, but I should be all back to good now.
Hopefully, because I'm not in for the next 3.
Oh yeah, because you go to the US of A.
I do. Yeah. I fly out on Tuesday.
Oh my god, that's going to be insane.
I'll be in the US for the draft.
Nice.
Are you going to the Bay? Are you in the Bay Area?
Unfortunately not. I'm East Coast.
Oh, you're going to go to Miami. Ooh.
No, not quite Miami. I've been very slightly north.
Boston?
No, literally
very slightly north Boston.
Orlando.
You'll be safe to say, ladies and gentlemen, Phil isn't a geography teacher.
No, wait. Boston is in the north. It's not exactly. Yeah. It's not like it's in the south of the state. It literally is north.
Dave's just pointing out that you do get the whole summer off.
I'm sorry. Get the whole summer off. I don't get paid for the summer. Teachers get paid pro rata. We don't get the summer off. We don't get paid.
Yeah.
Massive misconceptions because you read newspapers owned by Rupert Murdoch. Well, Thank you very much.
Dave does live in Gibraltar. So he's
Well, there we
probably
go. He's an expat. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Ladies and gentlemen,
No, when I
I'm
said slightly north, I did mean slightly north.
I could have said Buffalo.
And Dave's also just said get lots of inset days.
That we have to be in school for. Like, it's not just a day off. Jesus
Dave,
Christ, man.
stop poking the bear, please.
Wow,
Like-
wow, expats.
There we go. Expat. Go back to your tax haven, mate, to be fair.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
But
Thank
before
you for
this
joining
starts an whole argument, I think we need to leave it there.
Yeah,
Yes, I apologise.
ladies
Just
and
get
gentlemen,
really defensive.
thank you very much for joining in. Stay safe. We'll be back, 3 of us, because someone's gallivanting around for a cheerleader competition in South America. We will see you
So
next
South
week.
America, South
Stay
America,
safe.
South